the broadcast with Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And Shandy.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is season 5, episode 11, episode number 191. We are moving along towards what is it? The 200 train is chugging along.
Oh, it'll be so exciting at the idea of 200 episodes.
It's crazy.
It is. It brings me such glee in such dark times as these. It's nice to have something to look forward to.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. The whole life of the broadcast has mostly been during very dark times.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
True. I hope we've been a real light in the darkness for people.
A light in the darkness.
A broad glow.
A broad glow. And if not a light in the darkness, at least a shot of tequila in the middle of the bar.
Definitely. Hopefully the dark days will be coming to a close, but the broadcast will still go on.
Go on.
Yep.
Yes.
Shine on, sisters.
Yes.
Nevertheless, we will persist.
Yes.
Yep. We don't know when to leave the party.
I'm ready to leave, though. I mean, I guess we could all stay and do tequila shots, even if the morning light comes.
Only if there's tequila.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous idea there.
So is former years of Donald Trump.
Oh, gosh. Yes. Yeah, it's just downright unfathomable.
It's like not even dangerous. It's like the end. I mean,
yeah, like my brain just can't compute how catastrophic it would be.
I know on so many levels, and that's what I really hope that people who voted for him before, who maybe hopefully are not necessarily going to vote for him this year, what I hope that they understand is like this is not hyperbole. And like on so many levels, all you have to do is look at what's going on with the pandemic, but also like look what's going on in the entire West Coast. Like yesterday, the blanket of smoke was covering the entire United States. It was like nature is so symbolic right now. Yeah. It's like, wow, couldn't have planned this better.
I know.
The entirety of the U.S. covered in smoke from forest fires due in large part because of climate change. Like, fuck.
Or being hit with hurricanes.
Yes, yeah. They're like 5 at the same time right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of nature, how is the air quality by you, Shandy? How are you doing? Are you okay? Have you been outside?
Can
you go outside?
I remember, having been born and raised in the West, I specifically remember the year around like 2000 when we had a really bad a fire season. And that was the first time I had ever experienced like smoke in the summer and for many days in August. And I remember like all of the fall sports were like starting up. It was right before we actually went back to school. But so I'm, obviously I wasn't playing those sports, but I had friends who were, and I felt so bad for them because they were like outside in the smoke and it was terrible. And that's really like, that stands out to me as the first time that this phenomenon had ever happened. And it's just increasingly common and frequent, the longer that things have gone on. And I remember when I moved to Monterey almost 9 years ago now, one of the things that I was really relieved about was that we didn't have a fire season here. Like we're right on the coast.
Yeah.
Even though there, obviously there are bad fires in California, but like we really didn't have a fire season here. And there were a couple of fires really close one time, and there was a little bit of smoke in the air for like, very short period of time. And then there was the Paradise Fire, the campfire. And that I remember it was November. And it lasted for a really long time. And it was just like, we're having fire season in November. Like, what the fuck? And it's even on the coast, it's hitting us. And then this is like next level, just like next level apocalyptic shit. And it was, honestly, like I was a little bit stir crazy, like for the last like week straight, like we couldn't open the door. We couldn't open the windows. We couldn't go outside. Like I couldn't go for a fucking walk. Like truly, truly confined just to our apartment. It was terrible. Last night, it started clearing a little bit, and the air quality got to the levels of it not being dangerous to go outside. So like immediately Frank and I both like went outside and like went for a walk, went running, like, and then today, amazingly, all day long, we've been in the green zone. It's been so nice. Like I went for a long walk at lunch. I went for another walk right after work. Like it's amazing how good that makes me feel. Like we need this as humans. And it's supposed to be good here for the next few days, and then we'll see what happens. I'm like, I know this is not the end of it. So, we'll see, but it's crazy because you look at the map, like now I look at that website every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are back in like a healthy level here, at least here. But like you look at some places are still like in the 400s, like 400s. I can't even imagine. Like we got up when we were in like really bad, it was like 170, 180, like up there. Healthy is 0 to 50.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, that number means nothing to me other than sounding like it's a high number. I don't know what it means or what it's in relation to. But
sorry. This has been a week of like looking at the site every day. And then you forget that like, oh yeah, this is not necessarily something that other people are obsessing over because oh my God, but 400, can you imagine? Like, so we couldn't, it was unhealthy to go on a walk to like, we were supposed to stay indoors as much as possible, not do any exercise outside when we were in the like 150 to 200 range. People in Oregon are in the 400 range and like Northern California. It is insanity.
Worst air quality in the world right now.
We do. We have the worst air quality. We're number one.
We're number one.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I posted the other day the article that came out recently about how we're number 28 and dropping. And that's another thing. Like I have to wonder the people who are in that mindset of like, we're the best and we're the best at everything. Like literally the only thing that we are excelling in is how shitty we've responded to this pandemic and how shitty our air quality is, like all the bad things. That's not being number one.
Yeah, we're not really being our best selves right now. Not really winning, as it were.
Yeah. One of the really interesting things in that article is, and you can just like Google that, we're number 28 and dropping if you haven't seen it yet. But one of the really interesting things was they talk about different factors. And one of them is healthcare. And yes, we do have really high we have good healthcare in the sense of we have like really good doctors and like help, like the competence is there. Right. But we are way behind in actual access to that. It's like, yeah, this is what universal healthcare solves.
Universal health, yes, it makes it that great healthcare available, theoretically that great healthcare available to everyone, so they aren't, one ER bill doesn't, set them into bankruptcy or debt that they can't get out of for the next 10 years, which is a huge fucking problem in the richest country in the world. So that's supposed to be the greatest.
Well, and then people will actually go to the doctor instead of waiting until they're nearly dead because they know that like, oh, it's no big deal to go to the doctor. Like I don't have to pay an arm and a leg. So, oh my God, I can do preventative care.
Exactly. And I think that is something that, some people who think, oh, well, healthcare is too complicated. It actually, like, look how much money the Sturgis outbreak, right? That they've apparently contact traced that group of that motorcycle thing to like 260,000 people, right? Not people that were there, but like, people that they infected that then infected with other people, So that actually cost the public like billions of dollars. That's an expense that, if we had somebody at the top that was like, hey, maybe wear your mask, or I don't know, don't gather in a large fucking crowd in the middle of the pandemic, maybe we could have avoided that. But, like you were just saying, it's like if you don't take care of your tooth, you have a toothache, you don't have dental insurance. And even if you do have dental insurance, it's fucking expensive. I had dental insurance and it's terrible insurance. And I always have to pay an arm and a leg whenever I go to the dentist. It's probably because, your tooth bothers you. Oh, I'm going to brush and floss. Cool. 2 months later, still hurting, it turns into a cavity, but you don't want to pay to go to the dentist and have it fixed because whatever, it's expensive. And you don't have great insurance, or you don't have it, or dental insurance in general. And then all of a sudden you need like a root canal, or you need your tooth taken out. And then it ends up costing so much more money if you had just gotten the cavity filled in the first place.
Yes. And then you have to pay like $600 to get a crown on that root canal, even if you do have quote unquote good dental insurance, because that shit's not covered.
And if you need like dental surgery, you have to pay for the anesthesia.
Yep.
God, it's just crazy. I mean, the thing that gets me so much with the whole healthcare debate and people who are against any sort of like single payer type system is that, generally speaking, they don't know what they're talking about. And all it takes is for me to talk to my husband, who grew up in a country that has a much better system than us, and to see his reaction every time we go to the doctor. He is appalled every time I go to the doctor. And you would think like, oh, he goes to American doctors. Like, oh, he gets like American healthcare, and we have quote unquote good insurance. Like, oh, how lucky. No, like he trusts his French doctors much more. The service is not the same, for one thing, because a lot of times they will like, in France, if something's going on right away, they're gonna do like a battery of different tests and more quickly figure out what it is. In the US, I think it's because like each little test like could cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's very much less like, oh, let's figure out what this is. Whereas in France, like that's just not something you worry about. You have a problem, the doctor just does all the different tests to figure out what it is, and then they can treat you. Whereas here it's like something's going wrong. Oh, well, let's put you on a round of antibiotics for a couple of weeks, and then come back in 2 weeks if that's not working. And so then you come back and have to pay again. Oh, well, let's do this. Let's do that. Like and this can go on for weeks and months. But again, number one, and just in France, like they pay less than us. That's the other thing is like, I don't like a single payer system. If it's done right, you pay less than what we pay in the US.
Right, because everything costs the same.
Well, and also we have healthcare.
The same test can cost 3 different things depending on the type of insurance you have.
Right.
Or if you don't have insurance at all.
And don't forget, we also have to make sure we cover the top executives' salaries in our healthcare companies.
Right.
Which also makes things expensive.
We've privatized the whole thing. We've made the whole thing a business instead of a service.
But and like Shandy, I told the story last year because we're at actually the 1-year anniversary of when I had my hernia surgery, which the only reason I remember I had it so quickly because I had great insurance up until last year, and I knew that when we were switching insurances, it's not as great. And I wanted to make sure because I had met my deductible and my co-insurance from when I had the surgery to have the IUD removed from, my ribs.
Oh, yes, that.
You remember that whole thing where, my IUD floated up and then they couldn't find it? Yeah, great. But because of that procedure, I had met my, deductible and out of pocket, which was $750 or whatever. So this would have been covered, which is actually for American insurance to to not have to pay anything else after you hit that $750 is actually really great. I would argue like I really love my job, but like I did have other opportunities over the last several years, and the insurance was never as good as that. And because I still wanted to have children, I was always like, why would I leave something that I like, even if I could make a little bit more money somewhere else, if the insurance it's all gonna even out in the end if I have terrible insurance. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Because I think a lot of people actually are in the same thing where 100%. Like you are tethered to.
No, I think that is totally here. That is a very valid. Yeah.
Right, I'm lucky to be tethered to a job I like.
People are trapped in jobs, and don't have mobility because our health insurance is tied to our jobs, which is insanity.
And
just the fact that we use the term "good insurance" versus bad insurance, the fact that is even something we have to.
I don't even have bad insurance now. It's just not as good as it used to
be. Bananas.
Sorry,
and especially when the good insurance still is shit compared to what you can get in a developed country that has single payer system.
It shouldn't be good or bad. It should just be insurance.
But yes.
And it should do its
True.
decided purpose.
You're right. But a lot of times, the insurance, if your insurance isn't tied to your job, your insurance is going to be based on the amount you can afford to pay out of pocket each month. So if you can't afford to pay a lot out of pocket each month for whatever reason, whether you're, whatever reason, okay?
Exactly.
Because you know what? If I would list the reasons, I would just cut it out and post. So I'm just going to save myself the trouble of doing that.
Good editing on the fly. Good job.
But like, if you were like, either you choose the low monthly payments and then you have an incredibly high deductible, which if you're young and healthy, right? I guess that's not so much a problem. You just better hope that you don't get sick. Or
like break your leg or something.
Yeah, you just hope that nothing seriously.
Right, that you don't have anything that happens. Yeah. Like it's
like here's hoping.
Exactly. I don't know. It's just whatever. But anyway, so my two quick examples, and then I'm done with examples until whatever. Anyway, so my two quick examples is that I had the hernia surgery last year about this time, and the following, exactly 1 week later, my boss had surgery on her back because she had the herniated disc or something. And she was in pain for 2 years, and they made her go through a full year of physical therapy before she could get this shot, and then before she could then get an X-ray or an MRI or whatever she needed to do to get a second shot or something. And that's when they finally were like, okay, now you've exhausted all the other possibilities. Now you can have this surgery that will help you. So she was in pain for almost 2 years.
Oh my God. That's just not okay.
And it was terrible to watch her. Some days she would sit there in her chair and she would have the heating pad or the ice pack or the whatever, and she would be so miserable. I remember her several days being like, I have to go home. I physically cannot sit up. I don't even know if I can drive myself home. That's how badly it hurts. And it was like, nope, you got to go through all your physical therapy to make sure that won't help.
Oh my God.
And I understand, but you should have that choice. You should be able to choose, I want surgery or I want physical therapy. That should be your choice. That shouldn't be your insurance company's choice.
My mother-in-law had a herniated disc and she was operated immediately.
Yeah.
And she didn't pay for it. I mean, she did, in a sense.
Right.
Because everyone contributes to the system, but yeah.
Shh, don't say
but the money leaves the bank account.
And my other example is, and I saw this several times when I worked at the doctor's office, and I know somebody personally who is, not working anymore because they're on disability because they also had, issues, and they couldn't afford all the insurance stuff. And because they couldn't afford to do all of the insurance stuff and essentially get surgery, now they're on disability, so they can't work. And there's a certain connotation that looks down on people, especially people in a lower income group that aren't working, and it's like, well, they're too lazy to get a job. And it's like, well, or the system could actually provide them some help so they can actually get healthy, get the treatment they need, and then, potentially get back to work and, and then not be a quote unquote drain on the system, You know what I mean? Yeah. So if we had something.
Sure do.
Yeah.
It really does, honestly, when we talk about stuff like this and just it's being very much exacerbated lately, it feels like we're living in a developing nation. It really does.
Well, parts of it is
with that statement.
Part of us, yes. The experience of many Americans is that, which, is such a more a contrast when you think about how most people, my life is not like that, but then I think of the despair. There are people that are living so much higher than me, and then people that are living like a developing nation. And to me, the gaps between income levels and wealth in this country is freaking incredible. And we're not very wealthy, in the scheme of things, if you look at it on paper. But if you look at the crazy statistics of what middle class is, it doesn't take a lot to be middle class. I mean, you don't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that are middle class that there's a lot of factors that really makes them not middle class.
Right.
Because like you can have a middle class salary, but you can have an insane amount of like student debt, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because you can have student debt.
So are you truly middle class?
Right.
You know,
right. Like you have your salary, but how much of that are you actually keeping and using, and how much of that is going to your debt?
Your debt, or if you're trying to work, your debt, your childcare, your whatever. Like there's so many other factors. So yeah, like
but that difference that you're talking about, Colleen, like I think that's kind of like one of the things also that really, for me, makes it seem like we really are living in a developing nation, because in developing nations, like you have rich people.
Yeah,
like you do have, typically a class of people that has more. So it's not like they're mutually exclusive, but it's just that there's such a disparity between the haves and the have-nots, and the have-nots just like really have nothing.
Yeah.
And then the have-somes are like, one medical bill away from catastrophe. So again, like, are they really middle class if it's that unstable?
Well, I in my example, like two people that make six figures combined to be considered like upper middle class, but still like, break even a month because they have, student loans and a mortgage and a car payment. That's considered to be like lucky and upper middle class. And we should be like the average. We shouldn't be the exception. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, living in New York, I think about that a lot, because my salary anywhere else in the country,
oh my God,
would be really good money. But here, I forever feel like I just financially can't keep up. And it's just, it shouldn't be that way. Like I am so thankful for the money I make, and I do live a comfortable life. But even in saying that, like the despair, like it's just insane. It's just absolutely insane to me.
Yeah. So if you guys want to participate in a discussion like this, or talk about anything else that's going on in the world, because in the last 2 weeks, guess what? Remember like a week ago or two shows ago, a show ago, we had this little quiz of all the things that had happened in the last week? Well, turns out, the news cycle was like, hold my beer. Hold my tequila, do a couple of shots, because
like that many things happened today.
Holy shit. No, the beginning of last week was brutal. It was like head spinning, like, oh my God, like between the military stuff and the Woodward tapes coming out. And Woodward tapes, and the article about how they tried to muzzle Fauci, and the Caputo dude with the conspiracy theories, and just so many things hit the news that so many things didn't even get covered, and it was just like, oh my God, like it's not gonna stop. Yeah. Anyway, so good times. If you want to talk about this topic, any other topic, we are doing Broad Topics next Monday, September 21st, approximately 9:15 p.m. over Zoom. The link is the same as it's been for the past two Broad Topics. We hope that you will join us, because I feel like there's going to be a lot to talk about. And the schedule of Broad Topics for the rest of the year after that, we will go to every other week until the election. So it'll be September 21st, Monday, October 5th, Monday, October 19th, and then Monday, November 2nd. So I don't know. It's going to be a very nerve-wracking night. I signed up to help through the Board of Elections to help at the polls. So I'm waiting to see if I was approved to do so. And it wouldn't be like working for a specific party. Like when we volunteered with the Democrat Party in 2018, it would be to like, help check people in and wipe down the stations and make sure people socially distance, like the need that they have, because they have to close polling stations because, older people, it's not really safe for them. So I urge you out there, if this is something that you could possibly do, please look into doing so, because that is a very small thing in the scheme of things that we can do to help, that I feel at least a small way of giving back. So check with your local Board of Elections. I know that there's also links going around out there The Vote Save America thing may have something. They actually have a list on their website of all of the different rules specific to your state. So you can go to your state. They verified with each state's, like Attorney General and Board of Elections and whatnot to make sure that they have very specific instructions on the ways that you can vote safely. Don't forget to request your mail-in ballot if that is what you are choosing to do, because the mail is slow. I am currently on day 10 of waiting for something that shipped a week ago and has tracking, and just it stopped updating a few days ago. It's stuck. And yeah. So anyway, in North Carolina, if you do your ballot, you can actually track your mail-in ballot through a website. And I'm assuming most states have this. Because you get a specific barcode and number or whatever, and you can make sure that your vote got there safely and see if it was accepted or not. So, make sure that you are diligent about that. And, broad topics. Monday, September 21st, 9:15. The Zoom link will be emailed out to patrons. It'll be in the Facebook groups, or you can just message us if you want us. And we hope you join us.
Indeed.
Yes. So, speaking of the pandemic, I don't know if you guys remember, but a little while ago, Ro asked during a live show, Ro, had a little bit of a question about, hanky-panky during the pandemic. And just so happened that a couple of weeks ago, I had in my little news ticker feed a question, an article that popped up, and the topic was, is pandemic sex worth the risk? 6 single people get personal about their experiences. And this article is from September 3rd by Jamie Feldman. It was in the Huffington Post. Are you guys ready to hear if pandemic is... Hold on. The little tagline underneath. You ready for this? Is this dick really worth dying for?
Yeah. Yes. Clever.
Good times. It actually talks about there are options like dating via Zoom, but that can get old. Socially distanced dates, cocktails on the go, drinking them 6 feet apart, et cetera, et cetera. So she decided, is this dick really worth dying for, to look into it. So the first story is about, here's the first story. Steve, not his real name, had his first quarantine sex encounter in May with a man he used to sleep with regularly. He and I discussed how much contact we were having with other people. I felt okay about his level of precaution, so he came over. We did kiss because I was desperate. We had sex for a couple of hours, and he went home. Since then, that partner...
Couple of hours?
I know.
Yeah, seriously.
I know. That's actually what I got out of that, too. I was like, man... I don't know if it had been that long. I don't
about that.
I know, me too. And if it had been that long, I don't know if I would have lasted a couple of hours. But
Yeah.
Kissing multiple sessions.
Yeah.
Short naps in between. It's the only way.
Socially distanced snuggles.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure that's his favorite kind of snuggle. But
Right.
I'm going to put socially distanced snuggles as a potential episode title. Because that tickled me. Okay. Since then, that partner has opened up his social circle to include more people, so Steve is no longer comfortable seeing him. More recently, he hooked up via an app with someone he didn't know quite as well. Though they discussed general precautions, Steve became nervous when it was time to actually meet. I started getting panicked, feeling he may not be fully honest about how seriously he was taking the lockdown. And I thought to myself, is this dick really worth dying for? I went through it more because of my own social anxiety. So yes, and non-confrontational nature stopped me from calling it off in the moment. Fooled around but didn't kiss. The next night he messaged me that he'd hooked up with another guy and it was really fun. That freaked me out, so I went into full quarantine for 2 weeks and got a COVID test near the end. So that sounds like it wasn't worth it.
No,
Nope.
not to me anyway.
Yeah. So Steve concludes with, I feel like it was easier 2 or 3 months ago to find someone who was willing to have sex but also be cautious. Today, everyone seems more comfortable taking risks than I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess, it's the risk you're willing to take. Next story. Sexting was an attractive option for many people in the early days of the pandemic, even when venturing outside felt daunting. Taylor, who lives in Los Angeles, says, I felt super scared to leave my house, so basically let anyone whom I had at least one mutual connection sex with me. This included a Hinge match. What's Hinge? Is that a thing? What? Is that... Am I the only one that doesn't know?
This is the wrong crowd.
Okay.
It's a dating app.
Okay. I figured. It included a Hinge match who knew that a friend from business school... friends I'd never hooked up with, but who were rumored to have big dicks, and a guy named Brian who sold bicycles. I often let them control my Bluetooth vibrator. Sometimes I was actually using it. Sometimes I put it on the kitchen table while I was scrambling eggs. Hey, Taylor, game, respect, game there. That's awesome. Eventually, she started hanging out with guys in real life, but was turned off by many of their behaviors. It was frustrating when the other person was constantly talking about the pandemic or being paranoid about it. She said, hang with me or don't, but don't say yes to me and then make me feel bad. Own your decision. And though she would prefer to meet up with someone she knows, she's not ruling out other options. I do hope I get laid again before the coronavirus is eradicated. For now, it's back to swiping and starting all over again. Yeah. And as I'm reading this, I finally realized, like, with the Chris Evans accidentally, doing the dick pic this weekend and the protect that pussy meme, I finally get it. He was just, avoiding pandemic sex and sending people like Taylor his dick and memes with his face on it. Good times. Did you guys miss that story this weekend? Captain America, America's dick?
Kayla posted about it, so I saw it via the socials because thanks to Kayla, but I was kind of like, wait, who? So that's where I was at with that. I'm still kind of wondering who that is. I can't.
Captain
bring
America.
Up,
it was
Captain America.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. It was not.
Can't bring up a visual of his face or apparently his dick. No.
Not disappointing. Like thick. Like. Let's just say it was a pleasant dick pic. I'll say that. Anyway, and then the interviewer was very nice and tried to make him trend for something different. But we all knew. And now the protect that pussy meme is literally always going to be out there. So essentially, he was doing an Instagram live, but because he only joined Instagram like a month ago, he didn't realize, like, I don't know, something like his camera roll was like the last shot after his live thing ended. And in that camera roll, there was a meme of his face that said protect that pussy and a dick pic. A very artsy black and white dick pic. And, but the best part was the next day. So he lives with his brother, right? And his brother's like featured on a lot of his like social stuff. The next day, his brother tweeted, "So I was off social media yesterday. What did I miss?" And then Chris Evans posted yesterday, as of recording this, he wrote, "So now that I have everyone's attention," and then he had like the face palm emoji. And then he said, "Go vote on November 3rd.
Nice. Good save, man.
So I just Googled him and I see his face in front of me now and I still don't. It's still not. I've never seen this person.
Did you see
before,
Knives
I
Out?
Swear. No.
Okay.
Oh, it's good.
It's a great movie.
I tried to go to it at the drive-thru, but it was sold out.
Well, if you get the
that's a bummer.
chance to, even if you want to just rent it at home, because it's a good like watch in your jammies, eat popcorn kind of movie. It's a really entertaining movie.
Yeah, it's good. It doesn't go anywhere you expect it to go.
It does
At least
not.
I was caught off guard by the end, which is always a fun treat.
Yeah. And every time you watch it, just remember that the main character is currently fucking Ben Affleck. So there's that.
Huh.
Cool.
You know, I always like to point out when Ben Affleck is having sex with someone. Okay.
Sure.
I don't know. I felt like that was a good way to end the conversation.
It's the new, and then I was naked and found $5. It's the new non sequitur.
I didn't realize. See, I do the $5 thing all the time. Frank and I say that all the time. I didn't realize this layer of also being naked. That changes the whole thing.
I mean, that's how my friend used to say it. Maybe it's
like
just
next level.
Yeah, I always thought it was fun. It certainly grabs the attention.
Definitely. I will say that when you said who's fucking Ben Affleck, I then
thought of Sarah
was immediately
Silverman.
thinking about who's fucking Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Matt Damon. Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny.
I know.
So
I realize
funny.
that Sarah Silverman is hugely problematic nowadays, but I will never not love that big. I know.
And Matt Damon kind of too. God.
He is, but at least Matt Damon knows when to shut up.
Yeah. Valid.
Sarah Silverman is still, she still can't get why Louis C.K. is a bad dude, but, I know.
Shutting up was never Sarah Silverman's strong suit. Not really a skill she excels at.
I know. All right. This next one, haven't read it, but it's titled, He told me he was fostering puppies. How could I say no? I feel like this is going to be a thing that might enrage us. So, you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm here for the puppies, but...
If they're real puppies. They might not be real puppies.
Oh, no.
The fake puppies, and that's just really not okay.
I know. I don't know, though. I haven't read it. Okay. Though some people have attempted to scratch the itch for touch by engaging with a variety of people, there are those who have been lucky enough to find one person to consistently share intimacy with during quarantine. That, plus puppies, is what... Okay, I think they're real. Is what happened to a 25-year-old who randomly got an Instagram DM from a friend of a friend 2 months into the pandemic. Oh my God. So somebody literally slid into her DMs with puppies. That might be somewhat living the dream.
Yeah, let that be a lesson to us all.
Normally, I would ignore DM, but I knew the guy. I've never hung out with him one-on-one or was necessarily attracted to him. I wasn't sure of his intentions, but I just went with it. After a few back-and-forth messages, he invited her over and she agreed. In the back of my mind, I knew I had to be cautious. Disclosure, I knew he lived in a really nice home with a pool and air conditioning, which was tempting. He also told me that he was fostering puppies. How could I say no? Going into it, I thought he just wanted to hang out since pandemic life can be pretty lonely. After a whole day of playing with puppies, playing ping pong, swimming in the pool, and drinking, we hooked up. The sex was amazing. She said she feels there are multiple reasons why they continue to hook up. It's now been 3 months. And I agree that great sex in a house with a pool and puppy sounds hard to pass up. That was an editor's note. She said why they continue to hook up is that she felt safer with him since she already knew him. I constantly think to myself, is this guy worth dying over? Probably not, but at least I'm having fun doing it. Okay, guys, that is not a millennial talking. I just want to put that out there. That is definitely a Gen Z. Before anybody's like, those damn millennials and their sex drive, willing to die over anything. It's like, no, most of us are old and tired now.
True.
And we just want to live long enough.
Yeah, 3 months. That's pretty good. And it like around today is the 6-month anniversary of lockdown. So we've been sheltering in place for a full half of the year now.
It is because March 11th was the date that Trump gave that first press conference after Survivor. And immediately following that, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson said that they had COVID. And then the lockdown started over the next week and a half. Yes, so we've been 6 months. And you know what? We are
no sign of letting up.
We are 11 weeks into episode 5, season 5, and I can't fucking believe that because we were halfway through quarantine at this point when we had our 4th birthday party. That was in the middle of June, and now we're in the middle of September.
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, puppies and dicks worth dying for. Let's see. There's 2 more left, so let me skim real quick and see if there's anything that is. All right. Skimming this next one. Sex is a stress reliever. This chick in London met with a friend. There was sexual chemistry. Basically, they Netflixed and chilled, and she felt relaxed. She said, afterwards, my whole body felt relaxed for the first time since March. So for her, it was, oh gosh. Okay. She said, quote, to finish this story that I just summed up, I should feel guilty given all the rules and the fact that I've been pretty good at sticking to them for so long, but I really don't. I know everyone thinks they've got it the hardest right now, but I found it really hard to be single and deprived of affectionate touch for so long. This went some way to filling that hole.
Ooh.
Oh, good choice of words. And afterwards, I felt my whole body relaxed for the first time since March. I needed it. So I guess to her, that dick was worth dying for. But again, you know.
I hope they didn't spread it to anyone.
You got to make that
choice without potentially having symptoms and not even knowing, and the other person died. But whatever. Glad you got laid.
You know what she really needed? She really needed that Bluetooth vibrator.
Right.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Could have solved so many things. Could have solved so many problems.
Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, somebody could control your vibrator via Bluetooth from far away.
Oh, yes.
So now do you need an...
Kind of awesome, actually.
Yeah. So then, follow-up question. Is it powered by an app? So, like, it's Bluetooth. So I'd imagine that's your phone. So you have to have a vibrator app on the phone to work.
And then...
Can you just do
vibrator?
Can you just do
it
from
they're sending all of that information about you to... God knows.
And then it's getting bounced up to the cloud, and
but seriously,
someone's collecting that information.
That's okay. You know what? If it's as good as like a Chris Evans dick pic, I guess there's no shame in letting them see. Just kidding.
I mean, I guess there's worse analytics to have on your person.
If you're really lazy, can you do it from like just separate floors? Like, is that?
Well, like, can you call the vibrator to you? Like, text it?
No, like with your phone when you ping it. Like, can you find my vibrator?
Like, vibrator, come.
I see what you did there.
That wasn't even intentional. That just happened.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that was, I didn't plan that.
Oh man, that was really funny.
Yep.
All right. And then the final story, and I will also try to sum this up. This is for all the people that found themselves in a brand new relationship in March. Los Angeles-based C had just started dating someone, and even though she figured out they weren't compatible by the second month together, the sex was pretty good, and the thought of having to date someone with new COVID terms seemed like a hassle. She finally ended things in June when restrictions began to lift in California, and she felt more comfortable meeting and dating new people. But didn't you guys have like a huge wave after that?
I was gonna say, like, spoiler alert. That was...
She had a huge wave before that, though. That was worth it.
Seems like a dated story.
Anyway, she found someone new who was an old boyfriend. I trusted him blindly because he was a doctor and assured me that he had been safe and taken precautions. And then she died. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Oh dear.
Oh shit. This story actually doesn't end well.
Oh, no.
They spent most of the summer together. Quote, it was new, romantic, and sexy, she recalled. But then she found out that he had cheated on her.
Oh.
He promised that he only sexted other girls and didn't physically cheat. But things ended, and I was upset.
So there's like a whole nother layer here.
Yes, but don't worry. Follow up. She is now revenge fucking somebody else that she met on a dating app. So all is well.
Hopefully safely.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully neither of them has COVID either. I don't know.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, good times. This chick just sounds like she's kind of a mess. But, get it, girl, I guess. But don't get it as in COVID.
Don't get COVID.
Yeah.
Please wash your hands.
Yeah, get the D.
Wash your hands. Wear a mask.
Yes.
Do what you can.
Do what you can. Get the D, not the COVID.
Yeah. For real.
I waited a whole 20 seconds to say that one. So anyway, there is no easy answer to your question, Ro, except for the fact that it probably isn't worth dying for. So, no, it's an easy answer. Yeah. There we go. Easy answer.
Yeah. It's just like each party just needs to self-quarantine for a couple of weeks and then you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And in New York, COVID tests are like a dime a dozen now, right? Can't you just easily like walk in and take it up the nose to take it up the V? I don't know. Or the A, or the throat, whatever you want to do. Take it up with whatever. Or the nose.
No thanks.
But you can, though. Man. Look, if you're as desperate as person C...
Hey, you will find a way.
Tom will find a way. Ooh.
Everything okay over there?
Cat. Fifi, come on. She knocked over some lights.
Anyway, all right. All right. On that note, let's take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will do feedback. And we've got a lot of feedback. So let's see what we can get to after this break. All right. We are back and we are ready to get into some of the facey back. We start with Matt splaining, referencing last week where he mentioned City of Girls. And we were like, what is that again? It was a nominee for last year's Bad Sex in Fiction. So thank you, Matt, for that. And Matt also said, I recommended Know My Name to you when I finished it back in December, and I would be on board for a book club discussion. We talked about doing Know My Name potentially as like a little separate segment, bringing people in, bringing listeners in to do a little segment on that. So if anybody else is down with reading it and then discussing it, let us know. And maybe we could set something up for that, like take 20 minutes at some point and do that or something. So cool. And then David Gott answered the call, Shandy's call, about whether or not it should be possible to be a millionaire. And he said, absolutely.
Of course he did.
And I believe there was some offline discussion about that, which I won't have you share, so you don't have to break any confidences, but I'm sure it went exactly as we're all imagining it. Just kidding.
It was very civil.
Good. As it should be. Keep it civil, ladies.
Keep it civil.
Keep it Civil War.
Keep it Civil War.
Keep it Civil War.
Still the best.
Wow, that seems very prescient. What's the word? Like possibly relevant. Keep it Civil War. Just like we're coming up on
whatever that word is.
Civil War. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't know the word, but I agree with the sentiment.
You mean, yes, the fact that America is on the brink of civil war? Yes.
Yes.
Again, developing nation.
I know. Well, there's this meme going around that it's not even a meme. It's something that I've seen almost every Trump voter that I've encountered, whether it's been in like a Facebook group that I'm in with like strangers or people on my timeline. And there's this thing that everybody copies and pastes. It's like people ask me why I'm voting for Donald Trump, even if he's not like, the best he's not like, the nicest.
Even though he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, even though essentially it's like, what they're saying is essentially that because he's a piece of shit. It's like, I am voting for ideals. I am voting for this. I am voting for God and the Second Amendment and And I am voting for all of the unborn babies that the Democrats want to kill, and I am voting for being able
to forced hysterectomies, though.
I know, right? Oh God, let's save that because that is
let's not forget that was also in the news cycle in the past 48 hours,
and that wasn't the only whistleblower of the last week and a half. Not the only whistleblower. Crazy. But anyway, hashtag abolish ICE. But it listed all these things, and it was all crazy fear-mongering things, right? And I just wanted to comment to them, and instead I ended up just unfollowing them, so I never have to see them on my page again. I just didn't have it in me to have to deal. I don't know. I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna unfollow. But I really wanted to comment, do you realize that all the things that you're saying, it's I am voting to end the wars, and I am voting for this and that. And I want to be like, bitch, you know, the biggest problem with American politics today, and I'm not talking about the politicians and the Trump. I'm talking about the actual people. I swear to God, is that it's such an us versus them mentality from the right. You think that the issues that you're actually talking about, when you say the Second Amendment, you mean guns and gun ownership. Everybody wants, or when you say no, I'm not saying
everybody.
I'm not saying, no, that's not what I was going to say.
Okay.
That's not what I was going to say.
I mean, I agree with you, but I also want to say no.
No. My point was that for many of the issues that she was railing about, I wanted to be you do realize that everybody kind of wants all of these issues to be solved. It's just everyone has a different way of going about having to solve them. It's not they want to kill your babies after they're born kind of thing. It's not like Democrats want to kill babies. They want to provide women with the option to decide whether or not they want to terminate a pregnancy. You just want to make it illegal. They want to provide education and contraception and, social fallbacks to make it, so that somebody who might actually want to carry a child feels like that they can do that because they can afford to have it versus feeling like they can't. It's just, or with the Second Amendment, you guys want to take away guns, but I would say that most moderate Democrats and most moderate Republicans want to have gun control, take away the assault stuff, ban assault weapons and make it so that there's background checks universally and or with healthcare, they want to. She's and healthcare, and it's no, you don't want minorities to have healthcare. Let's not, everybody wants healthcare in some form. But it just got me thinking, a lot of things she was listing, I don't think that Democrats don't want to solve and address the issues. They just have a different way of looking at it. But when this one particular thing that is copy and pasted, and it's always the exact same. The order might be different, but it's always the exact same fear-mongering language. It's just yeah, we all want to solve that. But you sitting there screaming we can't bring a vote about climate change to the table in the Senate because you just don't want the liberals to win? That's so fucking stupid.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's part of the overall problem is stupidity.
Right.
We are uneducated, and a lot of people are dumb as fuck, and I'm sorry, but it's true. And it's not necessarily their fault. Our education system fails us. But people are not. So many people do not develop the capacity for critical analysis and critical thinking. And so if you're going to be a voter who's all about people not having abortions, and you have any sort of critical capacity in your brain, then you have to accept the reality that abortions go down under Democrats, because it's not just about suppressing something. It's about making other options available, which comes back to the whole thing of abortions. It's just about controlling women, because otherwise you would have to actually support the other side.
Right.
But again, there's no critical thought. It's all just...
And the Republican response to that would be...
ignorance. It's ignorance, I think, more than it is stupidity.
But the Republican
ignorance, but also willful ignorance.
It's willful. Yes, it is willful ignorance.
It is. But the classic conservative response to that would be, because I've had this argument with my parents before, well, sex education should be taught at home. That should be the parents' decision whether or not the child should learn that. Don't come at me, I know. And then, and I'm always like, but what if no one taught the parents? Mm-hmm. Then, you perpetuate the cycle.
Work. And all you have to do is observe, open your eyes. It doesn't
and
work.
We're no longer all getting the same information.
Right. And then the personal responsibility thing comes in. Well, why should I pay for somebody else's birth control? Because, the Obamacare thing scared everybody. Birth control is free under it. So you're really, when you pay into the system, you're paying for somebody else's birth control. And that should be their responsibility.
Why should I pay for your retirement?
Why should I pay for your Viagra?
Why should I pay for your Viagra? I mean, that's why we pay taxes.
And maybe you should pay for somebody's birth control, because if you pretend that you're Christian, then you should really want this issue that's not an issue for all Christians, but whatever, to do something about it. And that's a way that's going to do something about it. But also because if you say that you're Christian, you're supposed to care about other people. Well, and so helping them out, being charitable, sharing, those are Christian values. So even guess what? That's socialism. Sorry.
Even if you don't want to pay for someone's birth control, then if you're a good person, you should be in favor of having better social safety nets that can then reassure someone. I know that abortion happens for a variety of reasons, but one of the reasons is economic distress, right? We have people that may otherwise be willing to continue a pregnancy, but, don't feel like they can afford it. Whether they have other children already or they're, at the poverty line, themselves or whatever it is. So or they don't feel like they don't have any childcare. If you could probably eliminate some of the reasons that people might have abortion if you actually addressed the issue and the reasons in itself. And there's always going to be a part of women you're going to just have to accept, hey, I don't want to have a kid. And there's going to be that too. But that is blanket. That is not a blanket. Conservatives think that people have abortions as birth control. They never look at it as anything that is not nuanced. And if they addressed some of the nuances, they could greatly reduce the abortion rate.
Which ironically ironically that's true for some Republicans in the Senate positions of power. They do use abortion as birth control. Just saying.
I know sometimes it's projection, right? Well, why would you think that? Is that something that you would do? Because my mind doesn't go there.
Nope.
So if your mind does, then you must be thinking about using it that way. Dumb people.
Right. But again,
but it's always, they're trying to take this away. They're trying to kill people. They're trying to do literally the worst thing imaginable. It's no, they just have a different solution than you. Maybe we could all just, I don't know, shut off the Tucker Carlson and,
Well, they're also all false equivalencies.
False equivalencies.
They're all false equivalencies. And it's I'm really glad that I actually am siloed enough in my social medias that I don't come across that many of these things, because they just infuriate me. Because I think it's also the fact of someone who will post something like that on their social media. It's not even worth engaging with them, because there's no way you're going to reason with them.
No,
there's no way you're going to be able to have an active and constructive dialogue on a social media platform about why the thing they posted is problematic. So it's just you're just shouting at windmills, and it's exhausting and it's infuriating.
It is. Let's move on to the That's What She Said. All right. Moving on.
All right.
That's What She Said.
Somebody asked me if I wanted to join them.
I'm putting a group together. You interested?
I don't know if I'll do anything with it, but it'll be nice to have the possibility.
You still do it. It's completion.
I'm much more interested and ready. Let me start again. I'm much more interested and ready for it than before.
I think that is the way to do it.
I would totally do this. You're an inspiration.
I didn't realize how much I needed it.
It was very cup filling.
I can get undressed in less than a minute.
You definitely have to go F yourself.
I've had straight up naked dudes sign for their packages without beating an eye. Wait, batting an eye. Oh, beating an eye. That was Freudian.
Or beating an eye. I mean, that works too.
All right. Now, keep going. Just keep going.
Yep. There are only so many tricks and tips you can work yourself into.
I mostly like how much you like it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. I'm so caring.
Okay, one more.
You will do it. I have faith in you.
I'm going to take some stuffing out and see if that helps.
I don't even know what that means.
I did, and it did help.
Oh, the pillow.
Nice.
I think I'm going to make a throw pillow out of it with all the extra stuffing.
That's fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I need a sewing machine, though. So, I don't know. Maybe I won't do this. Anyway, continue.
I feel like we're getting it so much quicker.
Let's keep it in.
Thank you as always, Matt. Now it's time for but her Melania mails. Oh, I see what you did.
So long ago.
I see what you did there.
The next email is
in the news article.
I know.
The next email is actually going to explain what that's all about. I guess I can read this one.
Okay.
Okay. The first email is from Michael. Butter emails. Hello, ladies. So last show, the topic of Hillary's emails came up, and while I agree that any consternation by conservatives was bullshit, I do not think it was okay the way that she handled transparency as Secretary of State, specifically the email controversy. I know we all realize conservatives do not care about anything and just look to obscure their greed and hate by latching onto lesser issues such as smokescreens. Lesser issues as smokescreens. There is zero reason to take any of their concerns seriously. They are not serious people. My issue is this. The George W. Bush administration deleted 22 million emails on the way out the door to hide their crimes in Iraq and across the globe. Colin Powell, the primary salesman of their Iraq invasion, is the person who Secretary Clinton took advice from on setting up the home server, etc. It was not okay in the least for anyone in the Bush administration to do it, and it was not okay for anyone in the Obama admin to continue it and not fix the issue. Was she as bad as Powell and the Bush criminals? No. But we should want better than stepping over the infinitesimally slow bar Republicans set for themselves. I get the same frustration when I see the memes about the only Obama scandal was a tan suit. No, the only Obama scandal conservatives care about was a tan suit because they don't care how many people were killed, maimed, or orphaned around the world in drone attacks or other actions. We need to be much better than what conservatives are, and I can't be okay with holding politicians to the horrific Republican standard. We will never progress reaching right and hoping that they will see the light. They are gone. Let them go and reach the people who feel abandoned by the system and do not vote. But to do so, we need real standards because saying we are better than Republicans is obviously not enough to entice 40% of the population. This email kind of goes with what we're talking about with the meme discussion that got way too long. And one thing that did, before I forget, I meant to say when we were talking about it is we were talking about how like some people are lost, that it's, I think, the way to go is to appeal to the people who didn't vote. I've we've been reading stories lately of like people who have worked on like their elderly relatives to convince them to register for the first time in a long time to vote, or so yeah, I definitely agree with that. And then as far as the holding people more accountable, I agree. I mean, I agree. I know that Obama's foreign policy was a bit messy and tragic with like Syria and the drone attacks and whatnot, and that is definitely something that I think we should be better at. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, and to be fair, even stuff like in the U.S., like domestic policy, like deportations and stuff.
Yeah.
He deported
the Great Deporter,
shit ton of people.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. We do, like, it's totally fair. and the bar is way so low, too low. I think we're better than that. Yeah. I also agree that Trumper's going to Trump. And so kind of like, okay, bye-bye.
Yeah. There's no line. There's no line there. So
yeah. Can we still make fun of the tan suit as a scandal, though? Because it was just so ridiculous.
Yes.
I don't remember the tan suit. I don't know what that means.
So Obama wore a tan suit, and literally all of Fox News and conservative world flipped the fuck out.
Why? Just because tan suits aren't terribly flattering on anybody?
It's flattering on him, and maybe that was the problem.
Oh, maybe.
No, I think it was just, any time you could cause a scandal about something stupid.
Because, those Fox News people, they are the pinnacle of fashion. It's very important.
Yeah. Mitch McConnell, though, I mean, Obama might have started a trend because McTurtle was wearing a tan suit about a month ago.
That's snazzy dresser.
It went real well. It went real well with the white hair. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's a monochromatic look.
That definitely checks
the
out.
Horns, the devil horns. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
of course he would. Of course he would do the very thing that he. Again, it's the Melania males.
Melania males.
Yeah.
No, but Mike has some good. It's always good to assess what went wrong, and I feel like that's something that my mom does a lot. Like she'll be like, "No Child Left Behind was such a disaster," and I'm like, "And yet you still voted for George W. Bush. Like you still vote for Republicans because you believe the stupid like I'm voting for this and I'm voting for that and I'm voting for the babies and I'm voting for this." And it's just like, again, you probably have a lot more in common with the people who have rational solutions to things versus listening to the fear mongering. So yeah. Good times. But yes, thank you, Michael. We appreciate being brought back to Earth. And thank you for not writing your anti-Warren email a few weeks ago. I also appreciate that. Okay. Shandy is looking at me like, what the fuck do you mean? It's not a big deal. Honestly, don't worry about it. Our next email is from John the UPS guy.
All right. John the UPS guy says, "Hello, broads. The last episode was my favorite broadcast ever."
Oh, doom and gloom with a happy ending? Excellent.
Yeah. I received birthday wishes from all three broads, and Colleen did a feature based on my profession. Just to let you know, cold water is a thing for UPS drivers. It's greatly appreciated for several reasons. It gets extremely hot in the trucks, especially in the back, and a cold bottle of water helps to cool you off and hydrate you between stops. It's also great to get one right before stopping for lunch because the water gets warm real quick in the truck, and a cold water is nice with a sandwich. I have several commercial customers that provide me water every day and many more that just allow me to help myself to their refrigerators and pantries. I can actually get in trouble if I don't take water sometimes because my customers want to make sure I'm okay. Aww. That is really sweet. Anyway, thanks for the birthday wishes, and never be afraid to offer cold water to your delivery person. It'll put a smile on their face. Enjoying the show as always, John the UPS guy. Smiley face emoji and 3 box package emojis.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great. I had forgotten that we had talked about the leaving water for your delivery person.
Yeah, we did a whole
did a whole thing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad there's so many people that are looking out for their delivery people. That warms my heart. Like we've been talking a lot about a lot of negative stuff, and it's nice to be reminded every now and again that there are humans that care about other humans' well-being.
Yeah. And I hope you had a good birthday.
And I hope you had a good birthday.
Thank you, John, so much. Keeping in the same vein, we have an email from Mandy.
All right. I will keep it going here. Mandy says, a highlight since March for Maddie has been checking the mail every day. I'm sure you ladies have seen the pictures of her checking the mail, waiting for the mail, and now, thanks to you all, giving treats to our mail carrier. I shared with her the discussion from last episode. While grocery shopping, she wanted to buy bottled water so she can take one a day to the mail carrier. Well, that's awesome. Great. Way to go, Maddie.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that this is like her daily activity too. It's great.
I know.
I love this. I love this so much. Mandy, you're doing a good job.
Seriously. That's awesome. And John the UPS guy, also, thanks, Maddie. To put words in his mouth and all.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine with it.
Yeah. All right. And then we're going to finish this up with an email from Andy. I said it. Go.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I thought you were going to say it again.
Andy, go!
Everything hurts. Okay. Still me. Still reading things. Okay. This week in Andy's
hold on.
distancing.
Behind the scenes, Amanda's reading all these emails because Shandy has a naked Frenchman taking a bath.
Yeah.
Loudly.
Okay.
So she's on mute.
This week, Andy's social distancing. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Hey, broads. Well, after my recent letters, I'm finding myself at a loss for something to say this week. I'm glad my last note served to teach Amanda some new vocabulary, as emails often do. I have a very limited vocabulary, even if it is vocabulary used by the worst people on the internet. Funny Shandy should bring up accidental arousal when we finally can reconnect with our friends in person, because that is a fear I've had for when I get even remotely close to a woman for the first time.
Oh, you should meet that chick from Los Angeles from earlier in the show.
Right. Not that I would be the Lonely Island's jizz in my pants level embarrassing, but I just don't want to get in a situation where she might get creeped out or the wrong impression. Well, it'll be a while before I get in a situation like that, but maybe that'll be such a common occurrence in the post-COVID world we'll all kind of understand, even if for me there's a little more to it. We'll have to workshop a name for this phenomenon, which we apparently still have plenty of time to do. Another quiet week, so that's about it for me. If some of the predictions I'm hearing are true, and we may still be doing this for another full year and possibly into 2022.
No.
Oh dear. This segment might just turn into a several billion part series called Women I Haven't Slept With. Not much we can do aside from what we have been and voting out Trump and all the other people who have been exacerbating this. Hashtag I'm 6 feet from hers. Andy.
Yes, now that we have your attention, vote him out.
Yes. Well, on that very, very important point, register to vote and then vote.
Yes.
Not for Trump.
Yes. Not for Trump. Vote. Not for Trump, though.
Please.
I have to think anybody listening at this point that has remained listening is, not going to vote for Trump or is at least questioning it, because I can't imagine, at this point, you're still
right.
One of those people is like, I'm voting for Trump because blah, blah, blah. Democrats want to kill your baby. Blah, blah, blah. Guns.
Yeah.
I have to think
please
you're not
explain to me how you the Venn diagram of,
I have to believe
can
you're
support
not
Trump and also listen to us. I feel like at this point they're just not in the same universe,
right? I have to believe we're at that point where whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I don't have any clever. I wanted to say come for the something, stay for the whatever, but I don't have anything, so I can't make that joke. But, yeah.
Workshop it for next week.
For next week. But thank you for that email, Andy. We appreciate it.
As always.
As always. We had a very quick beginning. We didn't bring everything in the show, but Amanda, you were on vacation last week. How was it?
It was fantastic. It was very good. I did something that I never do, and I turned off the notifications on my email, my work email.
Yes.
Nice.
So I was completely unplugged. I mean, for half the week. And to be fair, what ultimately I forced myself to do this because we were hiking the national seashore in this, beautiful sort of marshy, beachy, scenic place. And I'm just getting this constant like bzz, bzz, bzz of my phone, which I had sort of in the bag that also had our water. And it was so awful. I was just like, that's it. I'm doing it.
Nice.
I'm turning it off.
So we're doing this.
Okay, so we're doing this. But yeah, it was great. It was a little chilly. So we didn't get as much beach time as I perhaps would have liked. But it was still just really, really, really cathartic to be away. Like truly and properly away.
Nice.
And the Cape Cod was beautiful. People were pretty respectful. There was a good, appropriate amount of mask wearing. Or, we would go for walks in the neighborhood and you'd see like people were very good about if you were approaching, pulling the mask back
That's
up.
what I do.
And, yeah. So it was lovely. It was lovely. And I'm like, okay to be back, which I think is the sign of a good trip.
Excellent.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, it is. The pictures were beautiful.
Yes, they were.
Most of them were from Daniel's nicer iPhone.
Nice. When we were looking at the pictures, Jay was like, "Damn, Amanda's hair looks great."
Oh, thanks, Jay. Appreciate that.
No problem. Shandy,
it's true. I'm into it. I might keep this look for a while.
I feel like the pandemic.
Well, I'm going to have to keep this look for a while because I'm not getting another pandemic haircut for a while.
But I feel like the pandemic has helped a lot of our hair, right? Like.
Oh my
my
God,
hair is
so
like
curly
got
now.
its like natural wave is getting a little bit more spirally as it like goes down, and that's just because I haven't like blow dried it in 6 months, like at all.
Oh yeah.
So I feel
the
like
curls are out of-
hair's getting healthy.
Mine was at the sweet spot, and now it's grown out to where it's at the too heavy spot.
Really? Oh, I think it looks awesome right now. It looks really.
I
great.
like your hair at this length. I always have.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I like it just a little bit shorter because it's less heavy and more curly.
Really?
This is just like kind of wavy, and then parts of it aren't even wavy at all.
Because I'm looking at the other side, and I think that like it looks really
The other
cool.
side is
like,
always better.
That's legit though, because I too have a side that behaves better than the other side.
Actually, yes.
So I very much feel you on that.
We had the only really like notable thing that's happened to us is the update on the Alex adventures in the middle of the night.
Yes,
yeah.
please update.
So we had a couple of days where he slept, like old times until like 7 or after 7 or whatever. It was great, and I was like, oh great, maybe he got used to it. But no, last couple of nights have consisted of let's see, other night. 3:45 a.m. I wake up and I hear this crinkling noise, and I'm like, what is that? And Alex had gone into the pantry, removed the plastic from the box of cereal, and was sitting at the edge of the floor just eating the oat squares like 3:45 a.m. just like rolled right up there like, hey. And I was like, what are you doing? So I had to talk him out of it. I was like, hey, do you think that maybe we could just put these up here and I'll give them to you when you wake up again? But it's still the middle of the night, and I think you might want to go to sleep. And lucky for Alex, Zoe jumped up on the bed the same time that he came up. And Alex is obsessed with Zoe. So he ends up hugging Zoe and me, and he's still, which is the first time he's ever been still in my bed. And falls asleep for an hour because he's hugging Zoe. And it's super sweet and super adorable and super cute and all of that. And then
Good on Zoe for allowing that.
Yes. For staying.
I know. Because she gets to this point during the like daytime where she's like, okay, little person, I'm done with you. So she was like super good with him. And that's generally just a story. He wakes up after an hour, and then we spend the next like half an hour with him tossing and turning, and I put him in bed, and he screams for the next half an hour about how he wants, Mommy, I want to sleep with Zoe. I want to sleep with Zoe. It's like that. It's like, whatever. Alex screaming. But anyway, the cute part of my story was the fact that he was rolling up in my room with a bag full of Oat Square cereal at 3:45 a.m. That's the moral of the story. So, where we are is pretty much not very different than where we were 2 weeks ago, except for the fact that he is no longer going outside, knock on wood. The end.
That's good. And now it includes snacks.
It does. It sure does.
We're staying inside, but we're going for the snacks.
Exactly. So, yeah, good times. Anyway, on that note, everybody. Thank you for listening. We hope that you will join us in the Broad Topics on September 21st at 9:15 Eastern Time. Put it in your calendar right now so you don't forget. We appreciate you listening, shopping through the Amazon affiliates link. That would be janejack.com/Amazon, all lowercase letters. Thank you to the patrons. We appreciate it. We will be live for the patrons next week's episode on September 22nd. So we hope that any patron that is at the Hangout level or higher can join us. We hope that we will see you on next week on September 22nd. If you'd like to make a patron, you can go to patreon.com/JaneJack or go to janejack.com and click on the Become a Patron link at the top right-hand corner of the page. And yeah, thank you to the patrons that contribute at a certain level, and that would be Tack from Tokyo, Eckhart Rickner, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with the Plan, Greg the Gray, and Ed the Creepy Mailman. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. If you have feedback for us on anything that we talked about today, if you have a picture of yourself in a tan suit, we would love to see it. Let's start that. Let's start that controversy, and that would be thebroadcasters3@gmail.com or 331-276-2373. Look, guys, we edited out about 20 minutes of politics talk tonight. That I ended the topic with saying I'm editing this all out, just so you all know. And if you want to know what that was and everything else, go to Broad Topics. We have fun. You can keep your camera off and talk. It's fine. Anyway, on that note, thank you all for listening. We hope that we see you next week. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.